Welcome to Insight. Today we are going to talk about Stratum Dashboards. We actually have something very new to show you today. So you came to the right spot. So welcome. My name's Adam Kurtz, and I've been with Sylvan for a very long time. Here's our agenda for today. We'll be talking about the dashboard, how to get data out of the data hub, essentially, and this is one way to do that. And we'll talk about the Stratum Dashboards. And let's see, who's not muted? Shame on you. So let's see. Make sure everybody's muted. All right. Stratum Dashboards, we'll talk about the designer. We'll go into a demo and we will take some questions. So that's kind of the agenda today. Here's the data hub. We have seen this, over and over again, which is a good thing because this kind of explains how to get data in and out of the Stratum application. Right here in the middle is your Stratum layer with all the applications. You may not be using all of them, but that's what's there. You have the layers of getting data in and getting data out of Stratum. Today, we're going to be concentrating on the dashboards area because there's been some enhancements made to that will be reflected in the next version of Stratum, version 7.4. The latest release is 7.3 that is currently available. So what you're going to see today is available in 7.4, which is right around the corner. So in order to use Stratum Dashboards, just generally speaking, you need to be on 7.1 or greater. In order to use the new charts that we'll see today, you'll need to be on 7.4. And it's easy. Once you have the ability to get to the dashboard design area, you'll see that it's pretty easy to create these dashboard items. Another ability here is to create a custom widget to other areas, maybe other websites or other reports that might be sitting elsewhere. So certainly that concept is still available. And at the end of the day, this is basically the concept is to provide professional looking dashboards that hopefully provide some value to the business users and at least gets them started in their analysis for the day. So here's what the new dashboard is. Basically why I took the new dashboard capabilities, and this is what I built from it. So it's I didn't spend a huge amount of time building this. It was actually quite simple. And the views I used were already created. So I just used the views that were already out there within Stratum to create my dashboard. So that's what it would look like. And how do you build it? Well, essentially, again, you have to be on the latest release. So 7.3 or 7.4 to actually use these graphic pieces, which will be out soon. But even with 7.3, you can do some pretty cool things as well. So the dashboard, how do we get to the dashboard designer? Well, once you upgrade, you'll see a new hamburger menu in the upper right-hand corner of the application. And I'll show you where that is. And I select that. If I click on that, I select manage things and I can see a dashboard menu. So I would just select that and that would then step me into the dashboard designer. Once I get into that area, I am able to actually start editing creating new dashboards. As you can see here on the left-hand side, I can create new dashboards. And I can also gain access to the views so that I can build the dashboard essentially from the views that are within the Stratum interface. So getting access to the designer is much easier. It's very simple once you're on some of the later releases. Once I'm in the dashboard designer, I can then edit and create dashboards, as I said. There is an edit toggle where you can go into edit mode, in and out of the edit mode. And once you're in edit mode, it will open up the connection to your Stratum views and will gain you access to the Stratum views and to the new graphical capabilities that are available. Here, then you can open up the different view groups and gain access to the individual views, and then drag and drop them into the dashboard design area. Of course, when you're building dashboards, best practices come in play here. You don't want to bring in too much detail, obviously just enough to tell the story. And certainly you can use the jump to view feature to get the user will always have access to the detail behind the widget. So there's always the concept of providing the user the ability to get to the detail as needed. So don't try to shove too much into the dashboard, right? Best practices come in play here in terms of how much to show here, and how much is too much and how much is too little. You know, you want a fine line, a good balance. Once you're in the designer, as I said, you can go in to each one of the widgets as you bring in the views or the different things that you want to bring into the designer for your dashboard. You can actually go in and you can customize them to clean them up. So with some of the views and whatnot, you can hide and show certain things like the paging icons and the filter icons, etc. So if you don't want them seeing the different areas of the view, the navigational area, you know, you can control, you know, what to show there within the view. So there's quite a bit of you know, features here in order to turn off and on certain things that you don't want to see within the view. And this is important because this really cleans up the dashboard, makes it more clean, concise, and without any further clutter. So this is an important step, I think, to make when you're building the dashboard. And I'll show you where to go for that. Down here, you can link things further. So down on the bottom here, you can link to the Sylvan website or any other further, any URL or other content you might want to link them to as well. The new charts in 7.4, you'll see those when you're in edit mode. They'll appear here right above your view groups. So you can then pre-select the different charts that are available within the new 7.4 Stratum interface. All the usual suspects are here in terms of the charting, you know, the column, the bar, the pie, line variation charts. And then of course the data grid is still available, which is essentially bringing the view in as it's in its vanilla form, if you will. The charts, of course, are customizable. We'll take a quick look at how you would be able to customize some of them. They're simple and easy to create. And they're quick, obviously, to create. And it really does lift the Stratum data into a more of a modern look and feel, modern charts, of course. This is actually built upon the Google charting. So yeah, they look great. So that's always a good thing. Here we can see that I'm able to go in and customize the chart within the designer. So once I start with a specific chart, I can then click on the edit button within the actual widget. And that gives me in some areas that I can go into, as you can see, the properties of the chart itself, where I can then edit the chart data. I can then maybe select a different chart. So I can go into the edit area of the chart type in the format and maybe select a different chart. Maybe if I'm not happy with the original chart that I selected, I can always change it on the fly. Furthermore, I can then, as you can see, when I go into these menus, I can then select and deselect certain things within my view so that the chart isn't too busy, or basically the chart doesn't graph everything or chart everything. I can limit the number of columns or measures, if you will. The chart then will render within the actual visual. This way you can clean up the actual graph, the graph itself, and you can make it more simple, more concise, and obviously less busy, which is always good. So the customization of the chart is nice because you don't have to necessarily build a view to fit the chart. You can always select the view in its vanilla form. Depending on what dimensions you have within the view, of course, you may want to finagle that as well, depending on what dimension you want to use within your chart. Here, if I want to go in and actually customize the chart on the fly, I can then select that menu. I can then change the chart to the different other types of variations that are available. As you can see, the bar, the column, we can see a combinational, some area charts as well. Lines, of course, lots of customization options here. And being able to customize the chart and customize the legend. There's several options available here for you to at least get the look and feel that I think that what you're looking for here. The custom widgets are certainly still available. So that's a widget that you can bring in and then point users to other reports that you may have online, maybe a Power BI report, or maybe there's a reporting services report that you want to render in the dashboard as well. And so you certainly have the option of bringing in a custom widget and then pointing the users to a report that might be rendered from a different application or a third-party tool for that matter. So that's something that we made available, or maybe to a graph or a JPEG, or maybe you want to introduce some more picture items into your dashboard, a logo. You know, that's always something that's easy to do too. That's me, that's my email, that's my phone number, and you know how to reach me. So if you have any questions that require further detail, if you want to talk about getting this and getting it installed into your environment, well, give me a shout and let's talk about it. So let's take a look at this in action. If we were to look at the charting in action here, we can see here that I've got my demo environment. So here I am at the home page of my demo environment, and there's my dashboard. So that's my Stratum dashboard I created, and using the new charting capabilities. So this is hot off the press, version 7.4. And here I can see a comparative sales chart for my different divisions and how they're performing this year versus last. Pretty simple. If I want to jump to that view, I can then go in and click on that button there, and I can either open this chart in another browser session, or I can actually jump to the view behind the chart, and it will then render the view and allow me to do the analysis within the view. Of course, here then I can go in and do all the regular things I would normally do within a view, drill down, find the detail, right? So this is not what I want to include in my dashboard. This is something where I would take the user elsewhere to get this detail. But being able to jump from that to the actual view behind the chart is certainly a very easy thing to do, and you can do that within any one of these widgets. So here we've got the bar chart. We can hover over each one of these different areas, and it actually shows me what division and what the numbers are for the year-to-date amount. So it's pretty cool stuff. Over here on the right-hand side is my open AR. I can see some of the folks here that owe me money. So again, the same concept is here, where I can then highlight and find out who these customers are and figure out, and again, I can then jump to the view then behind the graphic and do more analysis on these customers. Here I've got just a few steps further, and I've got the detail behind the graphic here. And certainly I can see some of the larger Harringtons and Wilder Foods show their heads there in my total AR past due amounts. So these are, again, past due amounts that customers still owe me money. And as you can see, I've got Wilder Foods, both of them. And we saw the detail behind the graphic. We saw that they were the top 3 culprits there. So pretty simple. Down on the bottom is a year-to-date flow of the sales. So I can see the sales amount for each one of my divisions. Again, going to the detail, I can then choose the view behind the chart and dive into a specific division if I wanted to, or um, depending on what I want to do, maybe go to the product level, product category for a given division. I can now do some drill downs, right? So I can get more detail behind the graphic. And I think you get that by now, right? So it's pretty simple to not only read the graphic, but then to get behind the graphic. What's not simple is working around this zoom menu. I really don't like doing that. Nevertheless, so here we have so that's it. I mean, that's how how I would envision a user using this pretty gosh darn looking dashboard, that I built within the 7.4 interface. And it's so clean, concise. This is a best practice. This is how you want to build this. And so and with the ability for them to jump to detail, it's really kind of a no-brainer to build this. Didn't take me long to really kind of refine this and make it look good. So how did I do it? How did I build this? How did I gain access to the designer? Well, as I said before, you've got this hamburger menu. And if I go into the manage things, I can then see an option for the dashboard menu. If I select it, it then renders the dashboard menu in its vanilla form, where then I can select the Stratum dashboard that we're currently using for my home page. As you can see, I've got other dashboards here as well, some older ones that are looking at some of the views. Here's an older dashboard that we were using before, and it was using some of the graphics within the views, within the actual views themselves. So that's still available. So if you want a view that with some of the graphs that are available within some of the views that you still have today, that you have, and you want to make those available in the dashboard, certainly you can do that, and I'll show you how. So with the Stratum dashboard, as you can see, I concentrated more on the new visuals, the new graphics. So let's see how we can do that. So over here on the right-hand side, we got the edit toggle. So I go into that, I edit, I then gain access to an edit mode of my dashboard. So now I've got these little customizable icons here. So if I wanted to click on that, I can start customizing my pie chart. So here I can then edit the pie chart data. If I want to see the sold to number instead of the long description, if I want to chart anything, maybe a different item here, maybe I just want to see the past due for 0 to 30 days. You can change this now so that you can it will then render for the changes that you make. So and then going into the chart type, if I wanted to change that on the fly, I can then tell it which different chart that I might want to use here. I can then select furthermore the different types of charts that are available here, and each one has a different variation that's available. That's really kind of cool and fun to explore. Furthermore, there's customization of the chart, the title, the legend can be positional, and font can be adjusted, and coloring can be done here. So a lot of things can be customized within the chart itself. If you want a different color for a different series, maybe a different customer and a different color, you can kind of select the different series customers in your chart and select what customer that you want them to stand out as. So I mean, it's not bad for the charting customization options. I think you get a fair amount of what you would normally need to customize here. Here, as you can see, I turn on the 3D or 2D feature. So I mean, it's up to you what you like from a cosmetic standpoint. The data itself, again, if you want to chart whatever it is that you want to chart and change that on whatever measure that you have within the view, that's still available too. So customization again over here. Then if I wanted to furthermore customize this particular chart, I can then go over here and do the same things, right? If I wanted to maybe select, here we can see that I'm comparing year to date. So, maybe if I want to do a different comparison, I could certainly do that and deselect these and then compare maybe the rolling amounts that are further up within the view. So it all depends on what you highlight and select here, and we can see the new amounts here for the rolling amounts. So refreshing the data here, and we can see that. So changing the things on the fly here are available, and that's adding in a new one. Then if I wanted to add one in, I can then go in and select, find the different views that I have available. I can open one up. If I want to select the chart, pre-select the chart, maybe I want comparative sales in more of a bar chart format, then I can pre-select that format and then drag and drop comparative sales over here into the dashboard area. So here we can see that by default, it charted everything. And then I can stretch this along if I wanted to, make it larger. And then if I wanted to edit this, I can then go in and certainly pare down, what it's charting here. And I'll just deselect everything here below this year versus last. And perhaps a select all or a deselect all button would be kind of cool here. But we'll get to, I'll request that and see what happens. Yeah, there seems to be quite a bit here. That should be good. That looks a lot better. Yeah, so I just added a new dashboard item. So now I can, if I wanted to, go in and edit the features of it and make some further customizations. If I wanted maybe a different color, or we saw how we went in and we changed the chart data, but now we've got a different, we can certainly go in and change and play around with some of the different chart options that are available here. I can actually do this right here on the fly. I could do a stacked if I want to and kind of preview, what it would look like here. And if I like it, I can then go ahead, select it, close it out, and deploy it essentially. So here we've got, a new dashboard item that's available here. Certainly I can use a different dimension, and that, that's just a matter of me changing the view behind the graphic. So if I want to, maybe product category comparison or company top level comparison, I could do that too. So toggling into the stop editing mode, it kind of steps you out of the edit mode. And then I can see the new chart option there in its full glory. If I right click the actual dashboard over here, I can open it in a new tab. Again, seeing it in its full glory. And then also being able to copy the actual URL. And I can then, paste that into the home page area of the, wow, that menu will not go away unless I, Cherry traditionally for individual users. Role security will take care of that. So if you're worried about users seeing the wrong territory or whatever, the role security will kick in and will only show them the territory that they're allowed to see. So that's role security is not going to change here, and it's still in effect. So that is something that still is locked in. So when you roll out a pie chart, I will only see the list of my customers here. So, and then I can then, if I go back, so we made some changes here. As I come back to my home page here, I refresh my home page, and I can see the new the new dashboard item there that we just built together, actually. So we were productive. We actually did something today. So questions, unmute yourself. Feel free to make some noise and talk to me. Any questions about the new charting? Oh, I hear somebody. What's up? Any questions? Don't be shy.
Jason Wilds here. I just wanted to ask a question on the widgets, and I noticed that they were coming in from, like, you can get them out of Power BI. Can you do Stratum to Power BI, or is it just like Stratum's the end tool and visual tool for that part?
No, yeah, you can. So here I've got a Power BI report, and you can certainly tap. We have a Power BI connector.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, so you can actually tap in Power BI to the views and then bring the views in. If you've worked with Power BI, sounds like you have, bring them in as data sets. So, so you can actually connect to the URL of the Stratum interface, and then it will present you with the views that you have access to. And then you just bring them in, and then they become basically data sets. So this is actually a view, the comparative sales view that we're looking at, and all the fields within that view that I can then drag and drop and make Power BI dashboards. And yeah, absolutely. I can then, once I publish this up to the cloud, Power BI cloud, get that URL to that particular report. Yes, absolutely. The custom widget can then be, that can be dropped in, and you can show a Power BI report if you wanted to as well. No doubt about it. I've done it. So it's absolutely available. So good question.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And if you want to know more, contact me offline, email me. We can talk more about it too. And if you don't have access to the Power BI connector, maybe you do, maybe you don't, we could talk more about that too.
Gotcha. That works very well. And then the only other question I had was the role security. If I'm sending it out to like over 100 DCs and retailers, I can just send out one big blast report, and the role security would just keep them to their section.
As long as they're part of the application. So as long as they're users within the viewer application and they have a role assigned to them, yes.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, yeah, those are my two questions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. More questions, comments?
Hi, this is Anne. I have a question.
Okay.
And I forgot how to do it. Like, let's say the dashboard that you had before, we would like to assign to a territories, but like having two territories together, how do I do the filter?
The same way. Oh, two territories, like if you wanted to merge the territories together in the graphic?
Yeah.
Not sure you'd be able to do that. It would still treat, if you'd filter the view to show the two territories, it would then graph them individually. So I don't think there would be a way to actually make that one graphical item.
Right.
Yeah. In terms of that type of customization, it's not quite there yet. So this is still somewhat topical as a first version. So, but even still, I think there's a fair amount of customization that you can do. But it's based on the view. Again, what's within the view is what you're going to see within the graph. So the view really kind of drives what the graph will represent.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. See more chats. I heard about, oh gosh, that's hard to know or to really to say. And I know Mary's on, one of our developers is probably on here. I'll have to say probably in the next quarter or so. And oh yeah. For Anne, if the filter was in the view filter, Mary, I don't know if that would work or not, but Anne, we'd like to answer your question, maybe work with you a little bit more on that actually, and maybe I'll get back to you on maybe a solution to that. I could be wrong. So
yeah, we've gone through this. I've gone through this with someone in Salon, and it was a while ago. I just forgot how to do it, and maybe I'll reach out to the lady.
I'll be glad to work with you on that if you'd like. And but let me do a little internal homework first.
Okay.
And I'll reach out to you.
Thank you.
How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you.
And then second quarter availability. There you go. How about that? So not too much longer. More questions, comments? This has been a great session. Thanks, everybody.